Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hi, my name is SITI ALIA BINTI AMIRUDDIN, and today I will be presenting about the 4 effective classroom strategies in Malaysian primary schools, which are instruction, questioning, behavior, and also feedback. So we'll start by giving the definition first. So what is classroom instruction? Classroom instruction is basically the clear guidance a teacher gives to students so that they know exactly what to do during the lesson or during the activities. And then we'll go to the second part, which is questioning. So what is questioning? Questioning is basically the use of questions by teachers to check the understanding, to promote thinking, and also engage students in learning. And then we also have managing behavior. So managing behavior is like strategies used by teachers to maintain a positive, orderly, and productive classroom environment. And lastly, the last part will be feedback. Oral and also written feedback. So it's like an interaction provided to students about it's not interaction, sorry, it's information provided to students about their learning, highlighting their strengths, correcting the mistakes, and also getting. So we'll start with the classroom instruction first. So I took sample 2, which is from the TEFL Academy. So what is the whole blog article is about? So the overview would be TFL Academy blog is on how teachers give effective instructions. So it focuses on the simplicity, the consistency, modeling, and also checking understanding between the teacher and also the students. So what are the key strategies mentioned inside the blog? Will be like, first, to keep instructions simple. For example, look at exercise 1, fill in missing words, check answers with partner. Because when we're talking with pupils, with primary school pupils, we have this some pupils are more proficient than the others, and then some are low proficient in English. So that's why when we keep instruction simple, we can ensure that every student understand. Okay, and then we use ICQs. So what is ICQs? ICQ is basically instruction checking questions. For example, we have, should you write this down? How many questions must you do? You're actually giving instructions but in like a form of questions, so the students will get it. And then consistency, like repeating same words for instructions across lessons. Like for example, when the teacher first come to class, every single day they will ask the students, what day is today, what date is today, have you cleaned, and have you looked under your desk, is it clean? Okay, and then also teachers can plan instructions in advance, like step-by-step instructions, help all students follow. Okay, so why is it important? Like, why is it useful? Because it shows real teacher language in action, and it emphasizes clarity, structure, and also smooth lesson flow, and also helps students understand and complete tasks. Okay, now moving on to the questioning strategies. So from this, I took sample 1, which is an article called Effective Questioning Techniques from SciTi. So what is this article about? So basically, it highlights how questioning improves thinking and participation. Like it focuses on engagement, critical thinking, and also checking understanding. So what are the key strategies mentioned in this article? So it mentioned that open-ended questions. So when you ask open-ended questions, it actually encourages longer answers. Like, why do you think the character made that choice? Instead of them just giving like one word answer. So it also says that to implement think, pair, share. So basically students think, and then they discuss with their partner, and then they share it with the whole class. So, and then we also have higher order Socratic questions. Like the reason to why this kind of question is encouraged to be asked is because it promotes reasoning, analysis, and also justification. And it will also have formative questioning, like quick checks to see what students actually understand. For example, who can show another way to solve this? And we also use visual prompts, like use pictures, videos or any kind of visuals to support responses. So why is this useful? It's because it helps students express ideas, not just give like one word answers. Also, it builds confidence and communication skills, and it makes lessons more interactive and also okay. Now moving on to our third strategy, which is classroom behavior. So I took sample 2, which is positive behavior management strategies. It's an article. So sample 2 actually emphasizes understanding on why behavior happens, and it responds proactively. It focuses on creating a supportive, respectful classroom environment. So what are the key ideas mentioned inside this article? So basically it says that we need to understand students' behavior, like look for the root causes. Maybe it could be anxiety, it could be confusion, or it could be boredom. And then proactive and preventive approach, how the teacher could do, which is plan engaging lessons, do clear routines, and also smooth transitions. Also positive language and reinforcements, like when the students do something good, we have to praise them to get the desired behavior. So instead of highlighting their mistakes, and then for example, like we say thank you for sitting quietly instead of stop talking, like that. So and then we also set clear boundaries and consistency, like we set fair rules and follow them calmly. And then we seek support when needed, like the teachers collaborate with colleagues, with counselors or parents for repeated issues from the students. So why is it useful? Is because it builds trust and reduces conflict. It encourages responsible behavior and also helps teachers maintain a calm, productive learning environment. Okay, so the fourth strategy would be oral and written feedback. So I took this sample from sample 2, which is from YouTube video. It's called Oral and Written Feedback with Teacher Linda. So what is this sample about? It basically focuses on giving feedback that supports learning without discouraging students, and it includes oral, written, and non-verbal feedback techniques. So what are the key ideas mentioned inside the YouTube video? So it's like timely feedback. First of all, it corrects mistakes immediately when needed, for example pronunciation, but delay others to avoid interrupting learning flow. And then also mention about balance correction that focuses on major errors during class, like leave minor errors for written feedback or later review. And then also positive framing that use encouraging language that guides improvement. For example, good try, remember your past ending instead of wrong. Okay, so also the next point that is mentioned would be clear criteria, which is students know what good work looks like. For example, they know the rubrics, they know the checklist examples. And then student involvement. This is very important because self and peer feedback help pupils reflect and take ownership. So why is it useful? It's because it builds confidence and reduces anxiety. It helps students understand exactly how to improve. It also supports continuous progress in both low and high proficiency learners. Okay, so now we're talking about why is it relevant to the Malaysian context. So we're going to pick the first one, which is giving instruction, which I took from sample 2. So firstly, why is it relevant? It's because Malaysian classrooms are usually high density, which is consists of 30 to 40 pupils. So when we use this article, why is it related, is because it emphasizes clear structured instructions which are essential when you have many students in one room. Like for example, in a crowded SK classroom, unclear instructions can lead to confusion, noise, and also time wasted. So instead, we use simple steps like stand, find a partner, ask 2 questions. It helps like keep lessons smooth. And then secondly, it's like mixed proficiency levels. So basically, it's very common from beginner to fluent. So Malaysian classrooms often have high variation in English proficiency even within the same class. So in sample 2, it focuses on clear modeling, repetition, and scaffolding, ensuring low proficiency students can follow along. At the same time, advanced pupils still stay engaged through extension tasks. Also aligns with CFR classroom expectations. So if CFR in Malaysia encourages clear learning extensions, step-by-step instructions, opportunities to practice, and interaction. So sample 2 supports this by promoting structured activity instructions that help pupils practice speaking, listening, and collaborative tasks. Also reduces behavioral issues caused by confusion. So how in many Malaysian classrooms misbehavior happens when students don't really understand what to do. clear instructions reduce of task talking, wandering around, and repeated questions like, "Teacher, how to do?" So this is especially relevant in SK schools where teachers handle large energetic classes. Also fits the Malaysian culture of routine-based learning. Malaysian pupils respond well to consistent routines such as Group of 4, books on the table, eyes on me. So sample 2 supports this by encouraging teachers to use predictable structures to students, so students know what to expect. And then lastly, it supports inclusivity in multicultural classroom. So how? Because Malaysia has multilingual, multi-ethnic classrooms. So with clear, concise instructions, it helps prevent misunderstandings. Also, students from different home languages, consisting of BM, Mandarin, Tamil, Iban, and etc., can actually follow the lesson without feeling lost. Okay, so now moving on to the next part, which is the questioning strategies, and why sample 1.I2, which is effective questioning techniques, can be relevant to the Malaysian classroom context. So first, because it supports mixed proficiency learners, which is very common in primary school. Malaysian classroom often include people from very different English levels. Some can answer confidently, while the others can only give one-word responses or just stay silent during the whole classroom session. So questioning helps teachers draw out ideas from all learners, especially when using strategies like open-ended questions, think, pair, share, visual prompts, which are mentioned inside the article. So this creates a safer, supported environment for low proficiency pupils to participate. So next, it encourages higher order thinking skills, which matches the KSSR or KSSM requirements. So Malaysia's curriculum aims to develop creativity, inference, reasoning, and problem solving kind of pupils. And Socratic questioning, Bloom's taxonomy, and analytical questions help pupils think deeper. And then it also reduces fear and builds confidence in English. Many Malaysian pupils are actually scared to answer because they worry about being wrong. They lack vocabulary. They feel embarrassed to speak in English. Strategies like think, pair, share actually build confidence gradually. Like think, child prepares in their own words, pair practice with one friend, and then share answer with support. So this fits with Vygotsky's zone of proximal development, or ZPD, where pupils learn better with peer scaffolding, and also helps teachers check understanding in real time. So in large Malaysian classes, which contains 30 to 40 pupils, it's impossible to check every workbook during the lesson. So questioning becomes a fast formative assessment tool. Like teachers can spot misunderstandings early through questions like, who can show me another way to solve this? What makes you say that? So this prevents learning gaps. Okay, so now we're going to talk about managing behavior. So I took sample 2, positive behavior management strategies article. So why, how can it be relevant within the Malaysian context? Is first because in the article it mentions that mixed ability and multilingual learners. So Malaysian classrooms include pupils with, like I've mentioned before, different language levels, different cultural behaviors, and different expectations from home. So when we set clear rules, modeling, and positive reinforcement, it ensures fairness and consistency across those diverse groups. So for example, a teacher explains class rules using simple English, visual cues, so both high and low proficiency pupils actually understand what is expected. And it also reduces misbehavior caused by language barriers. So some misbehavior actually happens not because the pupils are naughty, but because they don't actually understand the instructions. Behavior strategies that focus on root causes, as emphasized in the sample 2, it actually helps teachers respond appropriately. Like for example, a pupil talks or wonders during group work because they didn't understand the task. But instead of punishing, the teacher gives clearer instructions or uses a peer model to guide them. And then it also helps teachers handle behavior fairly. In Malaysia's multicultural setting, pupils may have different cultural norms regarding eye contact, tone of voice, expressing disagreement. Strategies like consistent rules and fair consequences actually help avoid misunderstanding and build trust. So using the same consequence system like warning, reminder, and follow-up prevents pupils from feeling teacher pilih kasih, or known as favoritism. And then lastly, it encourages collaboration with parents, counselors, and senior teachers. So sample 2 highlights the importance of getting support when behavior actually becomes challenging. This matches typical Malaysian school practice where disciplined teachers, counselors, class teachers, parents actually work together to support the child. For example, for repeated misbehavior, the teacher involves the counselor to explore underlying issues such as anxiety, family problems, or even learning difficulties. Okay, so now we're going to our last strategy, which is feedback, and why the sample that I took, which is sample 2, or written feedback with teacher Linda, actually is is actually relevant to Malaysian classroom context. So first, because of the large and high density classes, as we know, one class may be occupied with 30 to 40 pupils, and teachers cannot correct every mistakes publicly without slowing the lesson. So why is it relevant in the Malaysian context is because prioritizing key language areas ensures learning continues smoothly. For example, teacher corrects pronunciation immediately during oral practice, but minor grammar errors are addressed later in the written feedback. Okay, and then we also have oral feedback for immediate improvement. For context, verbal feedback helps pupils adjust mistakes as they happen. And why is it relevant in Malaysian context is because it is important in KSSR or KSSM primary classes where CEFR aligned speaking skills are targeted. For example, teacher repeats a student's correct past tense sentence after an error, like, yes, I went to the park, to correct model usage. So written feedback for reference and motivation. Written feedback actually allows pupils and parents to review progress after class. So it is useful in schools where pupils may need extra reinforcement at home. For example, homework books or online platforms provided with personalized comments like, great effort, work on using past tense verb correctly next time, like that. Okay, so lastly would be multisensory feedback techniques in context, which is using visuals, gestures and kinesthetic cues supports understanding for weaker learners, which is mentioned inside the video. So why is it relevant within the Malaysian context is because it is especially helpful in rural or low proficiency classes to scaffold learning. So for example, contraction cards, finger counts for syllabus, and gestures prompts make grammar and pronunciation better. Okay, so in conclusion, I believe that the all four areas, which are classroom instruction, questioning, behavior management, and feedback, are actually essential for effective teaching in Malaysian classrooms. And together, these practices actually create an inclusive, organized, and supportive learning environment for all Malaysian pupils to thrive. So that's all from me. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.